Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be for you, and welcome back to part 3, I believe, of the Livonia super detailed playthrough. And if you remember, at the end of part 2, I'm pretty sure we'd been to Nidek military, and we were making our way south using that Livonia tower, that'll be commonly called, as our waypoint to the south. From there, we would probably try and head towards Nidek, which is southwest slightly. We will bring the map up later, whatever happens. Food and water look okay. We've got some food on us. If you remember, we found the definitely not scripted MP5 with the magazine, spare mag as well. The battered FAMAS with the mag was a bit of a Brucey bonus. Clothing's not amazing. It's not terrible. We should probably wring our clothing out, but I want to keep moving for the purposes of the video. Try and keep it under an hour per part if we can. And it'd be really great, and I'd be really grateful if you could tickle that like button. And if you're not already subbed to the channel, sub for more content a bit like this. You might want to go through the back catalogue of guides that are already up on the channel. Maybe you can catch a stream live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday or Friday. Usually around 9 AM or 10 AM start UK time. I'm just going to go prone in the bush a second. Every time I've gone into DayZ recently, it doesn't matter how many times I do this, they put my object detail and texture to extreme, so I'm going to put it down to high. I don't particularly feel like you need it to be extreme. And while I'm recording using OBS, it just helps out the rig a little bit, you know? So what am I looking for at this tower? Probably some ammo. There are probably going to be some military zombies around there that could drop ammo. There are about 15 to 20 people on the server, as I logged in this morning. It's about 9:30 AM UK time as I'm recording. So it's not super packed, but we've got to be on our guard. That's why I've got my head on a bit of a swivel. I'm going to deviate slightly to this deer stand, hunting stand. We might find a rifle. Because at the moment we haven't got any range. We've got close quarter weapons. The MP5, the FAMAS and the revolver. We haven't got any long range. Getting a little bit of lag, a little bit of stutter from the server. Not a lot we can do about that. But let's deviate. There should be some zombies around this barn, this farm area. If you were looking for some food, that would be another reason for you to deviate. Maybe kill a few zombies. Remember, if you can't hunt an animal on Livonia, you're going to find it very difficult to find areas to fish unless you know the map very well, or you just happen to stumble across a pond, a lake, a watering hole. You could bring up your iSurvive if you're new to the map. Nothing wrong with that. Bring up iSurvive on your phone or a second monitor or something. Try and figure out where you are, having just left Nidek or wherever you've just left. I'm going to put that on full auto in case we see a player, because I'd want to spray them down. We've got the 230 round mags, so we haven't got to be frugal with the ammunition. Check for a bear trap at the foot of the ladder. People love to do that. We've been caught with it a few times. We're going to put the hunter pants on. They're nice. They give us 6 more slots. They're better insulation, even though they're a bit battered and we've got nothing to fix our clothing up with yet. But we may get lucky and find a sewing kit or some duct tape elsewhere. There doesn't seem to be many, if any, zombies around this farm, which can be an indication of recent player activity. Someone could have come through, let's say 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. They've killed the zombies, they've left. The zombies have now despawned, the dead ones. And we haven't got there quick enough to spawn in new zombies. So you can use it as a little bit of a telltale sign someone has been through recently. Not always accurate, 100% true. It's better to err on the side of caution. If you assume someone's been there and you could be just in front of us, it's better to be a bit more paranoid on this game, from experience, than be blasé and complacent and then get caught with your pants down, basically. I'm trying to remember what direction the Livonia stand was. in relation to that farm. It was pretty much this way. We've lost it behind the trees. We're getting some weird rendering with the shadows, but you can get that on Livonia. If you haven't got an all singing and dancing rig, which I haven't. There it is. We lost our bearings a little bit, but we can start heading that way. If you haven't got an all singing or dancing rig and you play on Livonia, particularly on a summer version of the server, because on PC you can get winter versions, a late autumn, early winter. On the summer version, the official version if you like, you know, with all the greenery, the bushes, the tall grass, it can play havoc sometimes with your frames. So don't be surprised if you get some frame drops when you zoom in using the middle mouse button or whatever the equivalent button is on controller. Don't be surprised if you get a little bit of dodgy rendering, but it's nothing we can't live with. It's not horrific. So the hunting pants were nice, even though they were a little bit banged up. They were better than the spawn pants we spawned in with. A few more slots for the inventory as well. Sporadic sprinting. We don't want to be in open fields, but when we're in the bushes like this, we can let our stamina build back up, ease off, keep alert, get ready to spray if anyone just jumps out of the bushes on you. We've got the helmet, we've got the stabby. That might buy us a few seconds. It might sponge a few shots, depending on what ammo, what gun they've got. And I'm pretty sure we're not suppressed. Oh, we are suppressed. It's been exactly a week since I recorded episode 2. So I had to remind myself what gear we had. And I forgot we had a suppressor there. Gun cleaning kit would be nice. Because we could fix up the FAMAS. We could fix up the suppressor if there's enough uses. This might be the first time I've recorded since... was the update on the Tuesday before I recorded episode 1 and 2? Maybe it was, actually. So if we do find stuff, gun cleaning kits, etc., stuff to fix up the clothing, nice quality of life change with 1.27. You only have to click once now, hold it down, left button if you're on PC, and it will fix your clothing, fix your gun, until you have no further uses, or until the gun or clothing is fixed up to the highest capacity it can be fixed. So always assume someone's here. Right, I'm not just going to walk in like I own the place. I'm assuming someone's already here. Now, I'm pretty sure there are a few sheds. There may even be a military container back here. Or two. That can spawn military loot. So I'm going to go crouched. I'm watching and I'm listening. I can't see any zombies yet. Oh, shots in the distance. If I stop talking for a second and stop moving, I'm listening now to see if I can hear someone fight a zombie or open a door or go into their inventory, start eating some food, all the little telltale audio signs that a player could be the other side of the wall. Where are the zombies? Again, a little bit disconcerting there are no zombies. I can open the back of this container, but I don't want to give somebody else an audio cue that I'm here. Oh, heli crash. You hear the heli crash, start. Try and face in the direction of it. Good tip is, pull out the compass once you've pinpointed it, and we can see that heli crash was pretty much south from our direction going forward, so I can remember that. We may even be able to see the plume of smoke from the top of the Livonia Tower. I'm looking to see if anybody's up there. Oh, I've just put my gun away. Clever. You'll see someone nicely silhouetted in the windows or on the balcony if they're there. Right, there's some more ammo for this gun. We don't need the 15-round mag, so I'm just going to empty it of the 9mm, throw it on the ground, get the gun back out quickly. Yeah, really concerned there's no zombies here. There are no dead zombies, so nobody's killed the zombie in the last sort of 2 or 3 minutes and left them there. But if they've been... oh, there's a zombie with a backpack on. There we go. Maybe they're now starting to spawn in on us. A handguard we don't need. A helmet we don't need. Stuff can spawn around these trucks. We could put it on burst. We could put it on single fire. We've got enough ammo to justify... I didn't really want to climb in here, but... It's only a pistol flashlight, but it was just worth checking. I'm tabbing on my keyboard to check the vicinity, because sometimes stuff can be glitched into the grass. You can't see the loot. So instead of physically looking with your eyes, just tab, and it'll tell you if anything's in the immediate vicinity. Quite loud, even though it's suppressed. Looking to see if anyone's heard the shots. Putting it back on full auto immediately. In case someone's heard the shots and they decide to push me. But when we've got enough ammo and you've got a suppressed weapon, instead of standing in the middle of the field fighting the zombies with a melee, I don't see any harm with just putting them down. Make that path nice and easy between you and where you want to go. So that you don't have to stand there, like I say, in the open field, hitting the zombies 2 or 3 times in the head with your blade or whatever you've got. Making yourself a nice, easy snipe target. Staying crouched. Now I'm going up, or upright. Always assuming someone's here. Looking on the ground for traps. No one's on the stairs. Let's assume someone's in here. Look at the way I backed up after I opened the door. Bit of lag, so I don't want to push the room while I'm lagging. And I was leaning. No one's had a fire here recently, but I'm looking to see if there were any embers. 0 loot. Now I'm listening to see if I can hear footsteps above me. Or shuffling. I'm going to switch out my magazine. So I've got a full mag. While I'm listening, I'm just going to top this one up. That's been an issue recently since the update. Dragging your stuff into your hands. Takes a couple of attempts, so be wary of that, especially if you're on PC. I can't answer for controller. Someone could be really patient, just sitting here, not moving. So just because you haven't heard anything, I'm not assuming there's nobody here. They could be really, really patient and ratty. I glanced down then just to check out I was on full auto. Instead of just thinking, yeah, I just did it, you know. You know you just put it on full auto. Why do you need to check again? No harm in just a little glance, making sure. Nothing worse than holding down the left button when you bump into a player and then you realise you're on semi-auto or burst, if the weapon allows. I didn't really clear that top floor very well then. See, that's the way we came in. So I'm looking to see if we're being stalked. Is anybody creeping in the bushes? Going in the military containers? There's a zombie over there. We left. I'm going around the outside relatively quickly. Tabbing to see if I've missed any ammo. Doesn't look like it. Smoke grenade. Going back inside. Now, there's an AdBall in the distance. Okay? You can see the apartments. There's a little industrial area before it. So, and it should show on the compass as south on the map. Yeah, pretty much. We said it was going to be slightly southwest from this tower. I was hoping to catch a glimpse of the smoke from... There's Radunin, the permanently gassed military base. You need an NBC suit to go in. I thought we might see the smoke from the helicopter crash that we heard. It could be in the field near that industrial. But I've given myself a visual aid now. Even though we're high up and it's easy to see Nadbor, it'll be more difficult when we're on the ground. You can see now why this Livonia tower, especially if you haven't got a compass, if you can navigate from Nidek to this Livonia tower, you get a little bit lucky when you find yourself here. Use the height, use the vantage point to plan your next move. Because look, when you get back on the ground, you're struggling to see anything because of the trees. So I'm repositioning myself south, slightly southwest. Bring the gun back out, and we're going to leave. Actually, we can quite comfortably see Nadbor in the distance. But if you couldn't, no harm in getting your bearings from the top of the Livonia Tower. And then when you're on the ground, whip the compass out if you're lucky enough to have one. Job's a good one. Now, there's quite a lot of open field between us and Nadbor. I don't want to just run across that open field. So I'm heading for the trees, and I'm going to head slightly around to the left here of the factory, the industrial area. Food and water still white, so I don't need to crack open my unknown food yet. We weren't lucky enough to find a gun cleaning kit, so we're still on the prowl for one of them, something to fix up our clothing as well. If we can get to Nadbor today and have a look at the points of interest in Nadbor, I think that would be good for part 3. From Nadbor, there's a military base, as we lag hard. There's a military base on the outskirts of the city, and it's on the way to one of the main military bases in the southwest, Swarog. That's probably where I would like to go for episode 4. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. I'm seeing if anyone is presenting. Pretty sure there's another word for it. I'm going to call it crescenting. I'm pretty sure that's not it. Cresting? Is it cresting? Over the crest of the hill? If you look at that and somebody's running on the top of that hill, you can see their silhouette nicely. So we're always looking out for that. We can't see the factory anymore, but I've remembered, if you like, where it was. If in doubt, whip the compass out. There we go. We are still heading in the right direction, pretty much. As long as we're going pretty much southwest, we're going to be okay. If at this point you were really struggling for food or water, then I suppose the good news is you're not far from Nadbor. The bad news is, if you need to be going in and out of all the residential houses of Nadbor, the longer you spend in that city, the bigger the chance you're going to run into some chads. Okay, some geared players. You might be the geared player. You might be the one that knocks. That's the risk that's the risk you take. If you can hunt an animal, or if you're lucky enough to have done some fishing before you left the south, maybe you've carried quite a lot of dried fish with you in preparation, you don't then need to worry about hunting for food in and around these hot spots. There's the heli crash, so we're going to go for it. It would be rude not to. Always bear in mind when you head to a heli crash a couple of things, okay? So this is what's going through my mind at the moment. Oh my god, it's a wide open field. If some super geared Chad with an SVD is running towards the same heli crash, and there's a good chance they are, we're going to be easy target practice. But we're going as the crow flies to kill as much of this open field as we can. That leads me on to point number 2. Some of the best loot on the server will spawn around a heli crash, potentially, especially the further south you go on Livonia. It's very close to some vantage points. Look, people could be sniping on the top of the factory. They'll use this as bait. Always assume other people are going for the same heli crash, so you might get some PvP. So again, I'm looking to see if I can see someone presenting in the distance. I actually can't see any zombies. Now, if somebody were to have a base around Nadbor and they popped an EpiPen, seeing from those apartments there, the church, this factory over here, it's not a long run across the top of the hill with an EpiPen, which gives them continuous stamina for about 60 seconds. It's not that long a run. So even though we heard that crash when we were in that Livonia tower, and it's fairly close to said tower, do not assume you're the first there. However close you are, however lucky you get to be in the proximity of one of these heli crashes, having a suppressed weapon is great. I can't actually see any zombies around there at the minute, but you usually get 5, 6, 7, 8 zombies around a heli. If you can ping them with a suppressed weapon and not stand there fighting them with your melee, more the better. I'm going to clear this house first, though, because we don't want to be looting the heli and then someone has been laying in wait here, giving it a few minutes before they push up. Oh, look at this. CR rifle. That's annoying. It's got a round in it as well. We're triple carrying. That's why it's annoying. I haven't got room for it, unless I make room for it. So what I could do, okay, I'm pretty sure if we jig things around a bit, we'll be able to put this gun in our bag like that. Okay, so we won't be triple carrying. If I need to drop my weapon, to fight a zombie, I can holster it. I haven't got to drop it on the floor. I can put it back in my bag and bring the melee weapon out, which unbelievably is my best melee weapon is still the small stone, which is a bit depressing. But watch now, see, it'll allow me to bring the stone knife out and then bring the MP5 out again. Oh, I thought I saw movement then in front of me, right to left. But I had to pick up that rifle. It's only got one shot. But if I were to creep in the trees and see a player, I'd rather shoot them iron sight with the 7x39 rifle than start burst firing them with the 9mm. Again, this is a nice little place to sort of camp the heli and then push up on it. So we should clear it, really. Hunting scope would be out of this world. Be wary of buildings where you can go upstairs on Livonia. People like to camp in the roof space. I've said that before, I think. Denim shorts. I glanced at them to see if there were any food or drink inside. There was no plus symbol, so I knew there wasn't. There's no line of sight on the heli here, so it actually would be against. It would be not really worth somebody camping this. We're going to take the lighter, drop the matches. The matches can get damp in rain, which is very common on Livonia. And if you haven't got a dry bag, your matches will become damp and you can't use them. Whereas that doesn't happen to flares or lighters. So if I can always swap out a lighter for matches, I will do it. I've lost my bearings a little bit, so I'm coming back out the way I came in, because I know the smoke's up there. We should start to see the tip of the smoke again soon. He says. More buildings where people could be lurking. Wasn't it up through here? Yeah, there it is. So what I want to do is get close, but not too close. But I'd love to sit in a bush first and see if anybody's there before us. Oh my god. I forgot about this little military area. So you can see how dangerous this is. There's no zombies here either. Oh my god, there's a dead zombie on the heli already, boy. Oh, okay. Someone's either here, still, very close, or they've looted and scooted super quickly, that heli. See, if I were them, if I wanted to grab everything off the heli and then sort my loot out, that would be a good place to go. I probably wouldn't stay in this military area. This is now almost a case of who sees who first. If this guy's got better weapons, and if he's just hit the heli crash, he probably has got better weapons than us. And he sees us first, we're probably dead, to be honest. What condition is our bag in? Oh, it's still pristine. So this is a rough one. You know, that zombie hasn't F11'd. Somebody has killed that zombie. And they've looted that heli before us. It's almost... It would almost be good now for us to leave, to be honest. That's a decision I wouldn't argue against making. I wouldn't blame anyone for making. Let's improve our melee weapon while we're here. I'm nosy though. I'm a little bit more gutsy. If you're new to the map, you're new to the game, and you see that dead zombie next to the heli crash, and you're a bit concerned, you value your life, I don't see any problem with leaving at the moment. And just saying, right, we'll go and fight another battle another day, but it's not really in my nature to play like that, so careless, reckless, you could call it. We may die. It is what it is. I do not want to aggro a zombie, okay? That's the last thing I want to do now, is aggravate a zombie. He'll scream. give our position away. If someone is busy looting, going through the big, fat, juicy loot they've just found, don't know what that noise was. I'm assuming someone's up here, though, going through their juicy loot. I maybe should have taken my shoes off downstairs to be even quieter, because on the wood, the audio is a lot louder now since the update. We're a bit exposed. I didn't even check this room, which was a massive mistake. Zombie over there is really chill, though. I definitely did see a dead zombie, didn't I? That's not a dead player, is it? It's got to be a dead zombie, hasn't it? I think we're just really unlucky. This helicopter has crashed close to somebody's base who was online, and they've gone, ooh, happy days. What have they gone, COD? Ooh, happy days. We're going to go and loot that heli. Because if that is a dead zombie, what sort of a Chad can kill one zombie by there and not aggravate the others? Just the way that character's lying, and I wish I had some sort of scope. I'm not entirely sure that's a zombie. I'm just going to assume it is. If it's a player, then I'm thinking, well, how did you die, bro? Good chance they died by being sniped by someone camping in the woods watching this heli. So, do we go in willingly and become the next victim for the sniper? Probably. Because curiosity killed the cat. I mean, I can't really see where they would be set up for the shot, apart from where we've just been up here. Shots in the distance. Leather kit over there. We didn't clear downstairs, so we should probably do that. I've got a leather kit already, which is full. That's why I'm not grabbing the other one. So we're pretty sure this is clear. I'm still half expecting someone to jump out of a bush. Or they're in the back of the helicopter. Some of the helis are accessible. You can actually go in them. And they could be just sitting in the back sorting out the loot. You know, they've managed to kill one zombie and sneak in. Which, fair play, if they have. They're a ninja. So don't be surprised if we die doing this, to be honest. But like I said, curiosity killed the cat. May kill us. Oh no, we've aggroed the zombie. That's the worst thing we could have done. So that anyone who's sitting around the heli now knows we're here, okay? So I brought the zombie back, so we've at least got some protection in the heli. Killed him quickly. Grabbed his bullets, although we haven't got a 45. We basically fucked up there, okay? We gave away our position. If anybody is on the other side of that heli crash, they know, prone, sorting through their loot, they know we're here now. But we've almost, like, committed to this. So I'm... Oh my god, he tanked it. Yeah, we've gone loud, basically. We've gone loud. This is not textbook. Drag the zombie in. Let him come to you, inside. Someone could come up to the window and pop us, but at least we're not outside fighting the zombie. Gun back out. Back on full auto in case someone has heard us and they start pushing us from the left or the right, or over the top of the heli. Now I'm going to stay upright because we've already gone loud, okay? If somebody's in that barrack sorting out their loot, they've heard us now. So what's the point of creeping, moving slowly, making yourself an easier shot when you've already gone loud? Does that make sense? Keep moving. That was a dead zombie. It wasn't a player. And I would have thought if somebody was in the back of this helicopter, they would have pushed us by now. Maybe not so much if they've run down to sort their loot out there. Wow, there's still a drum mag there. They obviously didn't want that. Another zombie on here. And what I'm doing now is seeing if this person, whoever they were, have they just been a bit flippant? And have they missed any really good loot? Probably not. But we've already committed to searching it. So it would be stupid not to now just tab around. See me tabbing? Around the helicopter, not looking at the ground. I'm just looking to see if it tells me there's anything in the vicinity. There's not. Now I'm going to get upright and sprint. Alright, so we basically just risked our life back there for nothing. Okay, but that's DayZ. Sometimes that happens. But we know now somebody is very, very close. I don't know what direction they left that heli crash. We don't know where they went. But they're very, very close. And they probably... There's a very good chance, I would say 95% certainty, they're more geared than us. Okay? We haven't got an EpiPen, so if I was shot at now, I couldn't even go into a bush, jab the EpiPen, and then run for my life. I would have to just hope I had enough stamina to get me out of trouble. This road leads around to Nadbor, so if you're not familiar with the map and you don't want to go cross-country, you don't want to be running up the road. How many times have I said that in a guide? But you can keep the road to your left or right, judging where the most cover is. And we're basically aiming, see that deer stand? I want to check it. It's really dangerous, particularly as someone is around, someone who's hit that heli crash. It's dangerous, but what if it's got a hunting scope on there for my CR rifle? We're going to have to stop and eat at some point, but we're definitely not going to be doing it this close to the looted heli crash. And I can see already, it looks like there's a very bright blue dry bag up there, so I'm not interested at all. It's probably been swapped out by somebody for a hunting backpack, because the blue dry bags do not spawn on a hunting stands. Another way of telling you're following someone, if you find loot that doesn't belong where you find it. So if you find a firefighter jacket in a military base, for example, you know somebody has picked up a military jacket and dumped the firefighter jacket in its place. I'm just going to try and head for the trees here to our right. I know Nadbor and its apartments are that way, but it seems like it's our best bet to give us some cover in case Mr. Helicopter Looter is zooming in on us through an SVD scope somewhere, or a Mosin scope. I've got to be honest, I think if they were in the immediate vicinity, we would have been shot at already. When I get into the tree line, I replace the mag, so now I've got a full mag again. I'm just going to top up the spare. Just keep on top of things like that. We're out of 9mm now, once we go through these two mags. It only allowed me to top it up to 29 shots, which tells me we're out of 9mm. But yeah, it's almost like a good housekeeping, good habits to get in. When you feel a bit safer, don't be doing that in an open field or right next to a helicopter crash. But when you feel a little bit safer, you've got a bit more cover. We could dart into the trees now if we start getting shot at from the road. Keep on top of things, get into the good habits of making sure your magazines are fully loaded, making sure your guns that you pick up are chambered. I can't tell how many times I've killed a player and they've had a gun on them with a mag, with ammunition, and they hadn't even chambered a round, which is really bad practice. Get in those good habits. Be ready for the unexpected at any time. People like to build bases in apartments. Loot does spawn in apartments on Livonia. It doesn't spawn in the apartments on Chinaris. So there is actually a reason to go in to the apartments on Livonia. But still, I think the top floor apartment, where you could add 3 or 4 doors and a gate or 2, adds a good option for a base. So don't go in there thinking you've got the run of the show, like you might do on Shinaris, because there's no reason for players to go in there with no loot spawning. But you're in the hotspot now, okay? You've got to expect players, even if we hadn't seen the helicopter and the dead zombie, you've got to expect players in Nadbor, and you've got to expect them to be geared. So if you catch a glimpse of someone and they look like Rambo, and you've got the gear that we have, you may want to just avoid them until you've got better gear, or unless you can get a really good shot on them while they don't expect it, you know? I don't want to eat my food in here. I'm just checking. There's something in the bag because of the plus symbol. And it's food. Nice. Nice. You don't have to tab in if you just look at it and it shows you the plus symbol. It's always nice. Little bonus. Now we found the CR rifle. Though we haven't even got a spare shot for this CR rifle. I'm just putting the extra 45 in this mag. Even though we haven't got an FX pistol, it saves a bit of room up here. Spare shots for the FAMAS. I'm emptying this. I don't think I'm going to pick up an SSG because I've now found the CR rifle. So I take the AK ammo out of it. Alright. A little bit tidier. Keep our food down there. Get our gun out. I actually want to go for the apartments. I haven't just said be wary. It gives you a very nice vantage point of the city from both sides, but my head is on a swivel now, okay? Be wary of anybody sniping from the clock tower. The blinds, the shutters, if you like, that are facing us now are closed. So we should be okay this side unless they open them and we don't notice. Now there's a PD down the end of this road. That's why there are PD zombies next to the garages. People will always want to go and loot the PD. I'm not that fussed, to be honest. I want to show you where it is. And 9mm would be nice, but I think it might be more risky than it's worth. There's the PD. I want to go in the apartments, not on the tippity top, not on the tippity top roof. I've crouched because I don't want to aggro any zombies. Now I'm inside, I'm upright, and I'm assuming someone is holding an angle, right? So when I go up the stairs, I'm clearing, not mega thoroughly. Now and again stopping to listen. Can't see any dead zombies. Can't see any immediate movement. Look, quick peeking, the PD. There are shutters open on the left-hand side of the church, I believe. There's the military base that's on the outskirts of Nadbor. That's probably where you would want to go to next. The only real points of interest in Nadbor are this PD. There is a medical this side of town, and there's a fire department that side, to give you relative directions from the PD, if you like, okay? You can find food and drink in these apartments, clothing to cut up as rags. So there you go. So if you're desperate, by all means loot them. But I'm trying not to make too much noise. I wish I had binos. See now how I'm standing in the window, but I'm not standing still. In case someone's on the top of that factory, zeroing in on us. I'm just seeing if I can see someone running out of houses. Right, so there's the medical. Okay, so if you're desperate for bandages, tetracycline, vitamins, your blood is low and you need a saline, there's your medical. And you can see the tin barn in the distance there. If you head out of town that way, you'll eventually get to the fire department. If you're looking for NBC, stuff to go into the gas zone, it can spawn not only in the medical, which would be another reason for you to go there, but it can spawn in the fire department. So your fire department is that way if you're looking for NBC. But really, when I come to Nadbor, I would scout Nadbor out from these apartments. If I see a player, then we've got a decision to make. Do we engage? Do we avoid? I'm wary that anybody with a great rifle could be looking at these apartments, so I'm trying not to stay still. But yeah, I'm pretty much going to scope out the town And then I'm going to go towards the outskirts there, the military barracks. And I'll show you why when I bring up the map. So I'm going to close the doors. It makes a noise, but it then gives us a couple of audio cues if somebody starts pushing our apartment. I'll give you the be right back screen for a second while I share my screen with you. This is a bit risky tabbing out, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, so if I share the desktop with you, you've got the map of Livonia. We've got the permanently gassed Radunin. And we've got the Livonia Tower. So we spawned in around about here somewhere. Ish. We made our way to the deer stand, and I think we moved across then. Or we either went to that deer stand, first, and then came across. But we ended up here, the Livonia Tower. We saw the heli crash in the distance, the smoke. And was it this heli crash we looted? I think it was. No, it was this one. It was this one, because there's the military barracks next to it. Okay? So all the way back here from the Livonia Tower, we saw the we heard the heli crash, then we saw the smoke, so we went for it. Saw the dead zombie, didn't find any loot. There's the factory that we saw in the distance from the Livonia Tower. And we came across here, we hit the deer stand. We went into the trees. Okay, and we've approached town this way. And we're in these apartments here now. We're around this area because we know we're up, there's garages. We're up the road from the PD. The medical's behind us. There's your fire department on the way out towards that tin building. But we're looking to go here. Here's the military area. We're in this apartment. So you want to be looking southwest, but you can see it from the apartments. And I want to be coming up here. This sort of amusement park, fairground, can spawn hunting loot. So that would be a good place to look for more rounds for the CR. And maybe even a hunting scope. As I come out of that, go back into the game, share the screen with you again. So that's what we're going to try and do for the next 10-15 minutes of the video. If we don't get killed, we'll look to log off. Not inside that base, but in the very close proximity to it. So in part 4, we could loot it and start heading to Swarog, where you can find real tasty loot. But again, you're probably going to bump into some chads, or it's best to assume you're not alone, because you're starting to get to the real juicy Livonia loot. I don't want to aggro these zombies outside. So I'm just quickly going to have a little peek, see if I can see any players running. The shutters this side of the church tower are still closed. I'm going away from the zombies, and I'm going to sprint. Right? You make a lot more noise when you're sprinting, but sometimes making yourself a harder target to hit from a sniper is the trade-off. There's that heli crash smoke. I just saw it briefly. Again, to our right. And I'm looking for zombies, because I don't want to be dealing with zombies. I want a nice, clear path to the fairground without having to shoot or fight any zombies. There's a dirt road at the top here, which leads directly to the fairground. There are trees we can use as cover to the right of it, so that's why I've gone here. Keep slightly in the trees. Don't assume nothing's going to come from the right-hand side, but it is more likely your trouble is going to be from the left. And what I'm looking for are these long caravans. There they are. There's one of them. Now that's where you're going to get your hunting loot, potentially, okay? And that's what we want to look in for. CR rifle ammo, 7x39, or a hunting scope, even better. Both would be incredible. But you might find compasses, you might find gun cleaning kits, all sorts of nice stuff, better clothing. You might find players, so keep an eye out. And what I do, I just tab like this, like shotgun ammo. I tab I don't bother looking with my eyes. I am looking with my eyes, but you know what I'm saying. There's a nice jacket there. What condition is our jacket in? Our jacket's okay. There's a fanny pack, more shotgun ammo. Okay, it wasn't what we wanted. I just heard footsteps. Almost positive. I'm going to assume, I'm going to go with my gut instinct and assume I did hear footsteps. They could have been my own footsteps, reverberating since the update. They're louder. But I swear I heard someone running up on us. I was half expected to start shooting then. May have been a runner zombie, but I can't see any. Now that road leads from Nadbor all the way down to this military base, so we are on full heightened alert now. It's crazy, I can hear something. I'm going to make a real risky decision here. And eat a bit of food. Because we don't want to be in a military base with a rumbling stomach. I know I've contradicted myself and done that before. If not on this series, on another series. Yeah, it was on the Chinaris one at Northwest Airfield. So I'm trying to get ahead of it so I don't make the same mistake again. Yeah, I'm hearing weird sounds. So I'm just assuming we're not alone. And honestly, if you get this far in Livonia and you're down in Nadbor and you're skirting towards the military base and you want to eventually go to Swarog and you get killed by a couple of Chads, GG's. You know, what can you do? You can only do your best. A lot of people in their first 100 hours of Livonia won't even get to Nadbor. They'll be struggling to survive up north. So if you've done that, give yourself a pat on the back. Don't be too hard on yourself. If you die down here, it's a bit like dying at Tizzy on Chinaris or Northwest Airfield, where there's some Chad camping a roof. You might get lucky, pull off a great play, or skillful play, not luck. But we're going to try and give you a little bit of an eyeball of this base before we end this part. And if there's somebody here, we might get some action. Now these will be referred to as armor barracks, because you saw those type of buildings in the Armor Reforger game, or Armor 2, Armor 3. I'm not an expert on the Armor games, I've got to be honest. But that is why people call them Armor Barracks. So if you hear someone say, oh, there's a player, he's just run into the Armor Barracks, they mean those two-story ones there, okay? Now, in my experience of looting them on this map, you're going to get what you might find in a police station. So, Scorpions, 9mm, 380, SSGs. You could get lucky and find something else, but just in my general experience, it tends to be more police loot. So it might not be a bad idea, us looking. Huge backpack, we don't want it, but it's there. You might want to loot it, like we do, if you need 9mm. Again, I can't see a lot of zombies. Normally this place is swarming, they might just all be around the front. Shades there. And military stuff can spawn in sheds. Or you might just get industrial stuff like code locks like that. But look at that, gas mask. See, it's a bit sporadic. It depends how close said industrial building is to another building that spawns different types of loot. They can be like a crossover in the loot economy. It can be in the close enough vicinity to spawn military loot. So always worth checking these sheds. There's a military container at the back there, and I'm basically staying to the outskirts, see? In case I hear gunshots, someone shooting Z suppressed, I maybe hear a Z scream because they've seen a player. I'm going to pick a flashbang up just for the sake of it. Look at that, flashbang and some sights next to a cleaver and a tactical vest. Bit of a mishmash of loot. See what I mean? I almost sometimes when I come here don't feel like it's worth looting it. I've got to be honest, there's a zombie. So we have got zombies here. By all means, you do you, right? If you want to loot it, loot it. I just don't feel like we're going to find an SKS or an M16 or a baby AK. It'll probably be in the very next building we look at now. But yeah, there we go, like a USG. That's the type of tier 2 loot. Sometimes even tier 1 I would expect to find further north or in the middle of the map, not so much down south as we are now. So I will sometimes just eyeball this, See if I can see someone on the roof. HQ, people will call that building, okay? So if someone says I can see someone on the roof of HQ, that's what they're talking about. Long grating, I would imagine that one is referred to as. I don't see them that often on DayZ. But long grating wouldn't be a bad shout for that one. But you see how I've just circumnavigated the entire base? That zombie made a very strange movement then. I think he just got caught on a... He's seen us. He's heard us. We're compromised. You might not be... You might not have to fight him. Yeah, here we go. He's going to latch onto us now, right? Watch. Here we go. We got to deal with him now. 2 big hits to the head, he'd be alright. 1, 2, immediately pull out the gun, search him, we're ready to go if somebody's heard the zombie scream and they're pushing us. There's a hole in the fence here, so you haven't got to go out to the main gate and expose yourself. Pause. I'm just looking. There are a couple of other things you could loot there, but we're going to keep moving towards Swarog. So we leave the military base this side, and we immediately get eyes on the road. Because, honestly, if there's a group of 2 or 3 Chads, and they're all rocking fantastic guns, they might just walk up the middle of the road, because they feel invincible. Whereas we're trying to stick to the tree line, near enough. So, but I'm keeping eyes on the road, I can't see anything. Now this is the road we're going to go down towards Swarog. We will try and get the map up again at the end of the episode to show you exactly where we went from those apartments. And I want to show you something else on the map. And that is the indicator, the symbol, if you like, for potential military convoy spawns. Because there's one down the end of this road. We're going to check it out before the end of this episode. And then we're going to do something cheeky. I'm going to give you a little tip. If you're looking, pause, if you're looking for the punch card, which we are, it would be great if we could get into the bunker. You need a punch card for that. The punch cards have an opportunity to spawn in several places, but one of them is on a military convoy. There will be a specific zombie. It's the captain zombie, the one I've told you about that screams, and you don't want to... You don't want to aggravate him if you can, because he'll bring the whole base of zombies on you once he screams, high-pitched scream. Instead of his usual cap, he will be wearing a medical scrub cap, green one. And if you're lucky enough to see that zombie on a convoy, I think you've got something like a 33% chance, don't quote me on that though, in the comments if you know the actual figure, but there is a percentage chance of that zombie dropping the punch card after you kill it, okay? So this is why we want to be looking at these convoys. I haven't gone out of my way to look at these convoy spawn points, but you might do a better job than me. I'm trying to keep these to 1 hour episodes. If you're playing for like 6 hours, 7 hours, you're doing a DayZ marathon sesh, you might pull up I Survive and have a look at all these military convoy potential spawns and just start hitting them one by one. There's almost, I think it's not quite 100% chance, but it's a much higher chance of you finding a punch card in one of the gas zones, but you're going to need a full NBC suit and several filters or charcoal, or get lucky getting more filters off the zombies once you're in. So it's a lot quicker to find one of these convoys and get a punch card than it is an NBC. But see how I'm in the trees, but I'm keeping eyes on the road. I'm just following it. Following it west. Slightly southwest, you'll see on the map. And the next visual I'm looking for, to get my bearings, is a mustache house. I think we all know by now what the mustache house is. The big green house. And there's the roof of it there. And the potential military convoy is on a dirt road opposite it. So if you get yourself down to this house, you can't fail to see the convoy if it's there. Also, there's a great spot for fishing at the back that I'm going to show you in the next episode if we don't get killed. So if you get down here and you're starving, you haven't got any food on you, but you've got the ability to fish. Two things. It's a great spot for fishing. There are some reeds you can put yourself in, so you can be nice and hidden. But beware. There's a good chance you'll get wolves. I've had wolves there while I'm mid-cast, which is great. Sure, I just showed wolves in the distance there. Oh, it's a bear. I think it's a bear. Bear or boar. So wolves, good opportunity of spawning down at this lake, and also, which is directly behind the green mustache, and also, people, imagine you're in a squad of 2 or 3, you're feeling quite confident. Let's go fishing. Do we want to cook it up on sticks over an open fire? Nah, let's just drag it back to the house on the main road. You'll get people doing that when there's solo. I would do it. You know, as someone who doesn't suffer with gear fear, I'm always in the frame of mind of just moving on to the next life. I'd be happy to catch a couple of fish, run it quickly back up to this house and cook it up, so don't be shocked if you see smoke coming out of that chimney. You are pretty close now to Swarog military base, okay? Which is, apart from the bunker area, it is the go-to military spot on Livonia. I wouldn't quite call it the Tizzy of Livonia, but let's just call it the Tizzy of Livonia. There's the dirt road. Now, if there was a military convoy spawn, it would be there, okay? All along this dirt track. Tanks, trucks, military zombies. Look for the guy, look for the dude with the scrub hat on, scrub cap. Very, very quickly at the end, I'm going to remind you, please hit that like button if you haven't already. But as I log off, I've just logged off, I can tab out and we're going to bring up the map again. And I'm just going to show you what I mean about the military convoys. Let me get onto Livonia. There she goes. Share my desktop. Yeah, I really appreciate you slapping the like button. And if you're new to the channel, why not hit the sub? We're pushing very, very close towards 5K, which is a nice little milestone. So we've already recapped how we got to Nadbor. We left the apartments. We whipped around the fairground. I thought I heard someone. Stayed in the bushes around this house. And we basically went around the outside of this little base. It hasn't even got a name on the map. Just call it Nadbor Military Base. These are the armor barracks where you can get military loot. I mean, I may have walked past an SKS and a box of 7x38, so more fool me. I didn't check the HQ. Remember, we hit the garages around here. Military container. There is a police shack at the front where you might get a stab vest, press vest, 9mm 380. And these buildings do have the chance of spawning military stuff. These big grey, long grey tins, but we didn't bother going in there. I just wanted to leave and head down this road. We stuck to the trees, went past these houses, and we made our way down towards the green mustache. Here it is. And there's the lake I was talking about. There is actually a hunting cabin there, which we may be able to loot next episode. Hopefully get some ammo or a hunting scope. But you can see, this is a nice little area to do some fishing. And if you want to just run it quickly up the hill to the green mustache, you can do your cooking. And that's the symbol you want to look for on I Survive. That's the symbol for a potential military convoy. So that's where you might get your punch card. We've logged off in the bush by here. So we know the sign for potential heli crashes, police crash convoys. But if you look at the route we've taken so far, I'm just looking to see, have we gone past any blatant military potential convoy spawns? Not really, by the looks of it. Heli crash spawns everywhere. Police crash spawns, but not so much the military crash convoys. I know there's one on the way down the main road from Topolin. There. Okay, so if you get a Topolin spawn, come down south. I found a punch card on that one before, and that leads all the way down to Palana, actually. You actually avoid Nadbor. But yeah, we've logged off here. Next episode, we'll have a look. A little bit of a cheeky tip, this one. If you get to a convoy spot like this, and there is no military convoy there, there's nothing against the rules of logging off in a bush. Say you want to go and get yourself a cup of tea IRL, get yourself something to eat, just take a break from the screen time. Log off in a bush, come back 2 hours later. You might log in, lock in eyes with a military convoy because it may have spawned in your absence. So not a bad idea logging in the vicinity of a potential convoy spot. And then next episode, we'll probably take you down to the lake. I don't know what's happened to the map. It's having a little funny 5 minutes, but then we're going to aim towards Swarog military camp. But I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.